Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk, and this is part one of two of my positional rankings for the NFC East. And where do the Giants rank in this division? And going through it, I was fairly surprised to see where the Giants actually rank when you consider every single position in this division. Now, this idea was taken from the Entertainer. I want to say this is what inspired me, so definitely do subscribe to him if you don't know who he is. He has like 26,000 subscribers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who he is. And yeah, let's get right into it. Starting off with quarterbacks. I watched the beginning of Entertainer's video, and I think he's right. He has Daniel Jones and the Giants ranked at number 3, but I would swap 1 and 2. I think that the Dallas Cowboys, take a look at the depth. You have Andy Dalton, you have Dak Prescott, and I believe they drafted some guy out of some random school this year's draft. I think that they're number 1. Dak Prescott doesn't have the best arm, but I think he has an underrated deep ball. He was injured towards the end of last season. He still was almost able to pull that game off against the Philadelphia Eagles. Speaking about the Philadelphia Eagles, they brought in Jalen Hurts, and they have Nate Sudfeld, and don't forget, they also have the dangerous weapon in Kyle Aletta. Oh yeah, and by the way, they have Carson Wentz, who they're paying $30 million a year, but this is not talking about like value. This is talking about guys who are actually good. Carson Wentz just misses too many intermediate routes for me to really trust him. You know, you get that offense going, and sometimes it's a mood killer when you can't complete those simple passes, but he's still better than Daniel Jones. Taking a look at the Giants roster, we stole Cooper Rush from the Dallas Cowboys. We also stole Colt McCoy from the Redskins. So we have division intel. Look at that. And Alex Tanney will be good, has been good for Daniel Jones' development. We all know about Daniel Jones. He needs to fix his fumbling problems. No, I think the issue with him, he needs to learn the offense just a little bit better. He needs to just get more experience, more reps, be able to read defenses, and I think he should be fine. You know, he has great athleticism. We need to run with him a little bit more. Him and Jason Garrett are going to figure some things out. And then the Washington Redskins, you have Dwayne Haskins, you have Alex Smith, and then you have Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen has a bigger fumble problem than Daniel Jones did. And Dwayne Haskins, he could, improve this year. I think that he can very well be in the top 25 next year. But, he has put on some interesting highlight tapes, but everyone's working out this season. I made a whole video about him. Let's move on to the next positional group. Let's take a look at the running backs, because I disagree with Entertainer here. He says that the Giants are clear number 1. I agree with that. But he's discounting the Redskins, who have a plurality of running back talent that one of them has to be good, right? You have Adrian Peterson, former MVP, decreasing, and he said he's like, oh, I'm going to play for the next 4 or 5 years. That's a kiss of death, so maybe I don't really believe in that much. But you have Darius Guice, who's been dealing with injuries, but you brought in J.D. McKissick. You brought in also a Peyton Barber, and I think that they're the number 2. Adrian Peterson still has a little bit left in him, but you have to go with the Giants at number 1, who have a Saquon Barkley. Wayne Gallman's number 3. Fumbling issues, I understand, but Saquon Barkley does not have fumbling issues whatsoever. Needs to work between tackles and finding lanes. But Dion Lewis at number 2 for our depth is going to be great for this team. He's going to be a pace change from Saquon Barkley, great at breaking tackles. Again, a little bit of a pace change from the Tennessee Titans. I really like Dion Lewis. And then take a look at the Eagles. He really overrates them. I think that they're number 4. Who do you have? Miles Sanders. And that's pretty much it. I don't trust the rest of this, running back core. They got rid of Jay Ajayi. I'm not too sure what they're going to do with the 3-headed monster. They have Elijah Holyfield, but I don't really like their running back core. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys at number 3 with Ezekiel Elliott and with a Tony Pollard, who, was a little bit underrated last year. He, filled in pretty well. Ezekiel Elliott, I get it. He didn't really play that much in, preseason, whatever. He was practicing in Cabo. But even then, you wish that he would, break out one game, but he just never did. Now you're looking at him. Is he a top 5 running back anymore? I'm not too sure. But yeah, so the Dallas Cowboys ranked number 3. Let's move on to tight end. The clear and obvious one is the it's the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz. Not really much to say about them. They torched the Giants. It's like the next Jason Witten. I really do hate it. Both of them, they had Zach Ertz, who Carson Wentz decides to feed a lot, which is partially the reason why he has a lot of good stats. But Zach Ertz is good, be able to find the lanes, is a big-bodied guy, doesn't drop the ball. Same thing with Dallas Goedert. They doubled down, and now they are in a position right now where they're a top 3 tight end group. I think that the Giants are number 2. Hear me out. Levine Toilolo, he's into block. He's played a couple years in this league, so he's experienced. He'll be able to bring some added depth to our offensive line. You have Evan Ingram, who I think may flourish in this offensive scheme where, this Air Coryell, you can just put him on the outside, put him a little bit off the line of scrimmage, and see what he does there. Just have Caden Smith and Levine Toilolo in that role too. I'm not too sure what the Giants are specifically going to do, but I think we're number 2 as far as talent. Because you take a look at the Cowboys and the Redskins, After Jordan Reed, he's pretty much done, I think, at this point with concussions. I'm not exactly sure. But you take a look at the Cowboys, Blake Jarwin, and that's pretty much it. They have Blake Bell, whatever, that they got from the Kansas City Chiefs, but I don't believe in him that much. Only has 424 yards in his short career. But, yeah, so, and I take a look at the Redskins. So, come on. Again, after Jordan Reed retired, they don't really have many redeeming qualities there. Let's take a look at the Redskins wide receivers. You have Terry McLaurin, who's their best. You have the two Sims twins, who people really believe in. And then you also have the guys that you drafted, Antonio Gandy Golden. But the thing is, it's very young. I think it has a high upside. But we'll see. Does Terry McLaurin take another big step up this year? Can he be like an Odell-type figure? We'll see about that. He has a special connection with Dwayne Haskins. Take a look at the Cowboys. CD, what do you call it? What's his name? Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper. This is a top wide receiver core in the league. People say CeeDee Lamb is a little bit overrated, but I think you create a mismatch with CeeDee Lamb because you have to create so much attention to Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is a little bit not good with physicality on the line, but he has some breakaway. He has some underrated breakaway speed. Kind of a well-rounded guy. Not going to be overly excited when he scores touchdowns, but it's just a solid foundation for a wide receiver core. I think he's a pure number one. And then Michael Gallup, he can also be a number one. What he did was very impressive last year. Take a look at the Giants. Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard. The only real fault of this team is, you like a 6'4" guy that can catch it. You could say Darius Slayton kind of fills that role, or maybe a Benjamin Victor eventually. We haven't really seen that proven, so I'm not going to be a biased Giants fan being overly optimistic about a wide receiver core. The only thing is injuries, and, Golden Tate, is he too old? Sterling Shepard, concussion, that sort of thing. And but I think the Giants are top two, and then you take a look at the Eagles, Deshaun Jackson, but does he still have that speed after all of his injuries and things? Is he getting too old? Jalen Reagor, you drafted a first-round wide receiver for a reason. I guess you could say that about the Cowboys, but they drafted a first-round wide receiver out of need. The Cowboys did that as a luxury pick to make their wide receiver core elite. The Cowboys are clear number one. And then finally, the offensive line. Now, the Giants could be a number one, but I have to slate them at number 3 because they haven't really proven anything. We did steal Cameron Fleming from the Dallas Cowboys. We did steal their offensive line coach. They're probably not going to be as good this year, especially with the loss of Travis Frederick at center. We'll see who ends up, being at center, but I think that's a weakness for them, as well as the Giants. I did a division crossover on my BNA Sports Instagram. Follow it, BNA Sports on Instagram. But, you take a look at the rest of the offensive line there. Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith. How much are they going to hold up? But you have, Connor Williams, you have a Zach Martin, who are solid foundations to the interior, and they have to be number one. Number 2, I still have to have Philadelphia, even though they do have a young guy in Andre Dillard. They lost their, their guy Brandon Brooks, their guard. But I still think, they have just good enough depth at there. They'll be able to keep Carson Wentz upright. I think that this is very tight, but I have to give the edge to the Eagles. And they lost Jason Peters as well. Don't underrate that. But they have a solid right tackle in Lane Johnson. He's definitely better than an Nate Solder and a Andrew Thomas. But that may change at the end of the year. And they take a look at the Washington Redskins. The only redeemable thing is a Brandon Sheriff. Who's going to play left tackle? I don't know. People like Wes Martin and things like that at center. I don't really love anything about their offensive line. You're paying one guy $15 million, and it's just like, who else is playing? You lost Trent Williams, who didn't play last year, but you also lost Donald Penn, who did. He wasn't great, but he's better than what they have now. And they don't trust that 4th-round guy. If somebody is like, don't underrate the Redskins. We drafted a 4th-round offensive lineman. Really? That's what you're going to say to me? But, and then you take a look at the Giants. We all know their pieces about center. Who's going to play at center? Nick Gates, Shane Lemieux, but we have decent amount of, tackle depth now. Not great guard depth, but, overall, this is a prove-it year. We'll see how Andrew Thomas does. We invested our future in him, but definitely do let me know what you guys think. Where do the Giants rank in this division as far as offense? Again, I'm going to make a separate video on defense because I don't want to make this video too long, as long as it is already. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.